Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. And today we're going to talk about. I finally decided after the Peter Pan one that today we're going to talk about the VHS of The Mask. Now, Duke, you don't have to read a week. You don't have to read the plot off of a wiki because I'm sure you got the film memorized for the most part.
Yep. And for those who may be wondering, it was another movie that Jack recommended to me. And I'm going to say, though, it's really good considering it does star Jim Carrey after all. So, the first thing we get for the VHS is the logo for New Line Home Video, since the movie is by New Line Cinema. We got a warning screen. And we get a Turner Home Entertainment logo. That looks more like that. That looks like a Buckingham Palace. I don't know what that is. What do we get after Turner Home Entertainment? The Mask screaming his eyes out until Mrs. Peeman tried to shoot a gun shoot his own weapon at him. Because we actually get a soundtrack. It was more of a promo to the soundtrack for The Mask.
Right, yeah.
Example being one of the musical sequences where the Mask is dancing with the cops. Okay. We get a promo for Pop Secret, which is a popcorn brand, which is a brand of popcorn. And a poor dad is awaking everyone up. And the family just took the popcorn away. And we get a brief intermission from the Spaced Ghost, whoever the Batman, whoever the heck that was, where he's supposed to have an interview with Jim Carrey after the movie. And we get a coming soon to a motion picture theater near you bumper. That's an interesting bumper I never seen before. Next up, we have a preview for another Jim Carrey movie starring Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, called Dumb and Dumber, another comedy film. And we get a full screen format. And then the actual movie starts with New Line Cinema. Well, New Line Home Video, I mean. Sorry. I thought it was New Line Cinema. Never mind. There's the New Line Cinema logo I was looking for. And then we get the opening logos from New Line Productions in association with Dark Horse Entertainment. It is also a Charles Russell film. Starring Jim Carrey. But we were also introduced to Cameron Diaz, who some people may know her as the voice of Princess Fiona in Shrek, but The Mask, I think, for what I know, is Cameron Diaz's first film in her debut.
Yeah.
And then the actual movie starts in well, somewhere in around, and it takes place in something called Edge City.
Yeah.
Such a interesting looking line, or such an interesting name.
And it starts for a comedy. It starts off rather eerie.
Yeah, why would you New Line Cinema, why did you start as something eerie even though it's supposed to be a comedy?
If you guys are wondering why this opening scene is so eerie, Duke's gonna describe it.
Well, why is it eerie? It's a scuba diver had discovered something underwater, looking for something buried, but breaking the chain with some kind of crowbar looking tool, whatever that was, and opening the chest reveals the Loki mask floating up above the sea, which reveals the title of the movie. I don't know why it started like that. I never understood why they started like that.
Well, it's just supposed to show how the mask got, let loose,
Okay. In the modern day, oh no, wait, not modern day, sorry. Still in the same location. Insecure bank teller Stanley Ipkiss, played by, of course, the one and only Jim Carrey, who doesn't may know him as Dr. Eggman in the Sonic trilogy, as well as The Grinch and many other movies that you may have known of. He was frankly ridiculed by everyone. Like basically he's been treated like crap for most of the people, except for his friend named Charlie Shoemaker, played by the late Richard Jenny. Well, that should be that's interesting to know. I mean, Charlie is the only friend that doesn't make fun of the Matt. No, Stanley.
And I should point out, there's 4 characters in this film who are a lot worse than the film's actual villain, who we're going to come across soon.
During the meanwhile, we come across one of the people that is an absolute a-hole, a gangster named Dorian Tyrell, played by Peter Green, who is whose boss Nico owned the nightclub named Coco Bongo, who plotted to overthrow Nico. But of course, one day, the gangster sent his dazzling singer girlfriend, Tina Carlisle. Don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I know she is what. But of course, she is played by Cameron Diaz, of course. And he sends her into the bank to record its layout for a very interesting heist. While Stanley was attracted to Tina, she seemingly Kipper-corates. But after being turned away from Coco Bongo, where Tina is performing, unfortunately, he was unfortunately kicked out of the Coco Bongo for no reason.
Now,
But
I just want to point some stuff out. Dorian's henchmen have interesting. His three main henchmen anyway have interesting names: Freeze, Sweet Eddie, and Orlando.
those are some interesting names, all right.
And before we go to the Coco Bongo Club, we come across two of the worst characters in the film.
Irv and Bert Ripley, who literally overcharged Stanley, giving him a not good-looking fancy car, but a very faulty loaner that is an absolute...
Yeah.
Stanley cannot even catch a break. And I thought Flick from the Bugs Life would be treated that badly.
Oh, gosh. And keep in mind, Bert and Irv, they're not even the number one worst characters in the film. But we'll get to him. Oh, boy, we'll get to him.
After being turned away from Coco Bongo, where Tina is performing, Stanley's unreliable car broke down on his way home, which unfortunately stranded him on the harbor bridge. But when he was there, though, while trying to find or to rescue what he thinks is a drowning person in the water, he instead discovers a wooden mask beneath a pile of garbage. Upon returning to his apartment, before we come across the character we know and love, we come across another worst character, Mrs. Peaman, who is actually, who, for those who may know, is Stanley's temperamental landlady. The worst character I've ever seen all day.
For me, she's the second worst character. Like I said, we're going to get to the worst character eventually.
So in his apartment, Stanley was with his dog named Max, who...
Not Max, Milo.
Sorry. No, why did I get mistaken as the Grinch now? I'm mistaken as the Grinch now. This is 1994, not 2000. Duke, what am I thinking? Well, it's Jim Carrey after all, so he's going to confuse me, of course. Well, in a good way. I'm not saying it badly. So, in Stanley's apartment, they were just watching some Looney Tunes styled cartoons.
Before Mrs. Peaman decides to ruin it. And so Stanley had to change it to like this talk show.
Yep. And at the apartment, he then decides to put on the mask. While the music, for some reason, started a little eerie.
Well, it is a terrifying, up until he becomes the mask himself. Like, the build-up to it is terrifying.
This is a comedy film, though. Why would it need to be so eerie? Like, it's not like we're seeing some kind of R-rated film here. What are you doing here, New Line?
It's pretty PG-13, guys. Yeah, we have Stanley, like, he's screaming in pain.
While he started screaming in pain, this actually scared Milo, causing him to hide under the bed. But while Stanley was starting to scream in pain, he then started spinning around like a twister, like a Tasmanian devil. But as he starts spinning it around in circles like a crazy twister, we may notice something differently. Stanley was not wearing his PJs anymore. For some reason, he now decided to switch over to a red tuxedo look type of suit. And his face, well, you might guessed it. He became the Mask himself. And the first line he says is, "Smoking!"
Yeah.
It's party time! PRT. Why? Because I gotta! As the Mask enters the apartment, or exits his apartment in the hallway, he comes across Mrs. Peenman's apartment. And we have a very funny looking fourth wall break. He tells the viewers that he's going to shush us a little bit. And started tiptoeing like some kind of cartoon. But what do we get next? A bouncing alarm clock. And this is when it gets more chaotic than usual. The Mask himself grabs a sledgehammer, trying to destroy a runaway clock, even though it's inanimate.
Yeah.
But after the disturbance, Mrs. Peenman woke up and screamed in horror, while the Mask screams his head off as his eyes pop out. It started being funny at first until Mrs. Peenman pulled out a gun like, "Oh crap!" As the Mask somehow fell, he just became flattened. And we have another fourth wall break. The second one in a row in the same scene. Look, Ma, I'm roadkill. But that's not the funniest one of all. Because we have another one. We have one person that tells the Mask to get out of the road, while the Mask himself thinks he just wants to communicate, as he says to the viewers. And what did he pull out? Something that is called "Squeeze Me Gently." Oh, sure. You think it's gently, huh? Well, you're gonna see what it actually is for the next 2 seconds. It actually screams "Awooga," causing the car to explode. Not exactly like an explosion from a PG-13 film, but the glass, but everywhere in the windows, literally shattered. In the alleyway, the Mask comes across a gang of mobsters, whoever they were. And while the gang of mobsters was chasing after the Mask, we have a very funny looking scene. The Mask thinks he's like he literally is hired in a carnival.
Right.
As he was making balloon animals for a couple of gangsters, we have a little funny joke that something that's a little unexpected but also weird. Sorry,
Yes.
wrong pocket.
Yeah. We're not gonna say what it is.
No, you don't want to know. Trust me, it's PG-13. But just because it is PG-13, because you don't want to know what it is. The second animal that a balloon that or balloon animal that the mask made was a French poodle, but blew it up because he claimed that the dog is rabbit and he had to go down. But the last thing that says is his favorite is not exactly a balloon animal, but a balloon rifle, which is or should I say, a Tommy gun.
And it becomes real, by the way.
How is it real when it's still a balloon?
It literally turns from balloon to real.
Oh my goodness. The masks when the mask found out how what the powers he had were, he thinks he's a superhero, but not exactly like you've seen from Marvel or DC. But at the end of the night, the mask wasn't done with the night yet, because he has a couple of idiots to deal with. Those two, aka those two guys who gave Stanley the stupidest car ever. And, well, what's the first thing that the mask would say to them? Is, well, the kind of the funniest one of all. Hold on to your lug nuts! It's time for an overhaul! And you don't want to know what happened to them. Oh my goodness.
But they deserved it.
Indeed they did. Oh my god. I don't think I've ever seen anything funny before.
Then we cut to the next morning,
where the mask just became Stanley Ipkiss himself.
he just wakes up.
And then when he wakes up, he found something odd happening with basically what people are asking what had happened overnight.
He gets a visit from a detective.
And who was the name of the detective for most people who are curious? Well, the detective is actually Detective Doyle, who is
Calloway.
Oh, Calloway. Sorry. Yeah, Lieutenant Calloway. There's the one I was looking for. Who is played by Peter Rygert. Very interesting name. He is basically a slightly cynical police lieutenant who is bent on capturing the mask. And while Stanley gets a visit from Calloway, he just doesn't know what happened. Followed by, he's not. Calloway wasn't the only person Stanley encountered. He also encountered newspaper reporter Peggy Brandt, who were investigating the mask's activity.
And it's in this scene where he meets Peggy. This is when we actually meet the number one worst character in the film. And his name is quite fitting.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And what's this? And this is and what? And who is this guy? Mr. Dickey.
Oh, Mr. Diggy. Oh, here we go. People may be wondering what did or what is Mr. Dickey exactly?
He's Stanley's boss.
Oh boy.
Like out of all the characters in the film, even even Mrs. Pima does not go up to this level of pure just unlikability.
That is true, honestly.
But yeah, he meets Peggy Brandt and he ends up he make there's a we're gonna get to that later, but she makes him think that she has a crush on him or whatever. Like,
Oh boy.
and then after that, we get the number one most terrifying scene in the whole film.
Oh boy. Even for a PG-13 comedy film, people may either want to know or people don't want to know.
If you guys are wondering what this scene is, well, let's just say it involves golfing.
But not in a very good way. Needless to say, it's not a pleasant type of golfing. Not in the outdoor area or an indoor facility, but rather eerie and painful.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time we actually physically see Nico, Dorian's boss.
And he basically warned Tyro to leave Edge City in just I kid you not, 1 week. Or else Tyro will just be
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of reasons why this scene is terrifying. The dark atmosphere, the point of view shots of Nico freaking swinging in the golf club, the blood on Dorian's lip, like,
ouch. Again, it's a PG-13 film, so what's with that?
But after that, we then come across a rather funny. It goes right back to being funny when we cut to Stanley having a dream later that night.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. People may be wondering what was the dream sequence. Either I do want to know or I kind of don't. I mean, I do because it's Jim Carrey after all.
But then he wakes up.
Oh gosh, that dream sequence. Either I say it's uncomfortable or still funny, but I don't know. Oh boy. Let's see, where else were we at?
Well, he becomes the Mask VHS.
Which is day number 2. Day 2 of The Mask again. Claiming to be claiming to be what people claim that there's a monster on the loose, but it's just the Mask himself.
And what does he do?
He decides to raid a bank, and even though inadvertently foiled Tyro's robbery heist.
And one of Dorian's henchmen, well, Duke can it's kind of sad. I know this guy was a villain, but Duke can describe what I'm talking about. Freeze, by the way. Duke can describe what happened. Actually, what makes it harsher in hindsight is that Freeze's actor actually died. Not in real life. No, not in the time of the movie, but he died like a few years later. I think
Literally died a few years before the movie released. Or after the movie, I say. Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, Freeze must have been left behind, I think.
No, they bring him. No, that they bring him to Dorian's office.
Oh boy.
But yeah, then the Mask decides to go after Bobby, the bouncer who threw Stanley out.
Yep. He came, but his entrance for the Mask came in a very looking slim and fancy looking limo. Is this Las Vegas or what?
And then he flings money in Bobby's face.
He throws money at the the bouncer's face and literally throws cash in the air for everyone to catch. Like it's raining money in the air.
Oh my god.
And then after that, after the Mask enters Coco Bongo, he actually gets to see Tina's performance. Even though I wish he didn't, if he wasn't kicked out by the bouncer anyway. But during the performance, well, the Mask, well, he just likes to be a Looney Tunes type of character. His mouth dropped, his eyes popped out, his heart started beating out, and then he started howling like a wolf, shape-shifting into some kind of Looney Tunes looking character.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, the Mask.
Then he bashes his head back to normal.
Even though in real life, that still gotta hurt.
And then he decides to rock this joint, if you know what I mean.
Indeed, I can tell. Oh boy.
The song, by the way, is called Hey Pachuco.
And after that, the Mask decided to change a little bit of a tune as he starts dancing along with Tina, of course.
And the song of Hey Pachuco by the band in the club, and that's when, and while this is happening, Dorian's distracted because Sweet Eddie calls him upstairs. Why? Because Freeze got shot.
Oh no. Ouch. But after the disruption, Tyro soon confronted the Mask for disrupting the theft.
Not just
While
not just Dorian, but also his bald henchman, named which is I mentioned him earlier, Orlando.
Yep, Orlando. But as Orlando was trying to shoot at the Mask, he starts to get a little funnier. And I mean more funnier than ever. And of course, still Jim Carrey, of course.
Yeah.
I can't even tell what he's he trying to be. And I can't, and I'm probably, and this is the scene that kind of had me dead. The Mask started faking his, kind of fake his death for a little bit. And thinks he has won an Oscar. The funniest thing, though, is that the funniest thing about that scene, though, is that Dorian literally straightened out his suit and later had his hair right as the
Yeah.
Mask got his quote unquote Oscar in front of the audience.
Yes.
Now that's very good. Jim Carrey, that was very good. I don't know why. But after the Mask, however, fleed, he accidentally left behind a scrap of cloth from his suit, which actually reverted into a piece of his own pajamas. And Kellaway found a piece of the fabric and suspected Stanley's involvement.
The next day.
So, in the next day, Stanley consults psychiatrist Arthur Newman.
Before that, Calloway confronts him. We get a lot before that, actually. Calloway confronts him in his apartment.
At a second time, exactly. And suspicion is starting to increase more than ever.
And when Stanley opens his closet,
he's doomed.
There's a whole bunch of money just coming out of the closet.
Oh boy, he's doomed.
And then we come back to the police station. That's when we're introduced to Doyle.
Yep.
Then it cuts to Dorian, telling a group of men, 50 grand for those who catch that green faced son of I can't say the word, And we get another satisfying moment, actually. Stanley finally stands up to Mr. Dickey.
Now that's a satisfying moment right there.
Like maybe you can quote what he says if you look that scene up. The Masked Stanley stands up to his boss.
Oh boy, I wonder what he literally said. He just literally called him Monkey Boy.
Yeah.
Club hat. one way to stand up to your boss. Sorry, like what?
And Charlie was impressed.
Oh boy, I don't see that every day.
And then he gets a visit from Tina again.
Oh boy.
And then there's when we come across Arthur Newman.
And for those who may know Arthur, he published a book called The Masks We Wear. And he also deduced that the mask may be a creation of Loki. No, not Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a god named Loki in Norse mythology.
And the result, a hilarious scene of Stanley putting the mask on in front of Arthur Newman, but nothing happens.
Oh boy. Yeah, it just probably does, it just probably wasn't affected yet. Because it only didn't happen in a day.
Cue the next scene later that night at the local landfill park.
And that's when Stanley meets up with Tina. And that's when Stanley puts on the mask. And this time he actually puts on a mask this time. And we come across a little bit of an uncomfortable, but also kind of the funniest scene ever. I mean, Tina literally kicked the mask in the groin. Well, don't think he's probably going to have any kids for that. And the mask literally, before that, the mask literally became some kind of person, like citizen from France.
Yeah.
She is the boy. What the heck? Jim Carrey every single time.
Oh my god.
Man. When the cops found the mask and shouted freeze, he literally took it seriously. The mask literally froze anyway. Literally, what the heck? The mask every single time. What the heck? After after Calloway and the others failed to attempt to capture the mask, we come across a very interesting musical sequence. But before that, we have another funny scene. Kind of before this sequence, though. Let me see if I can find that one. Well, when the mask literally fled, he turned around to see hundreds of cops aiming him at gunpoint. And what did he do next? He screamed his head, his tongue, and his skull off!
Yeah, he did.
What the heck is going on?
His skull came popping out of his face.
While the mask was being held at gunpoint, he actually decided to distract the police with a mass performance of the titular song from Cuban Pete, a 1946 film. Oh boy.
As a result, probably the most iconic scene in the film.
Even though before that we still can't get over the fact that the mask literally loses his head off. I see what they're doing here in New Line Cinema. I see what you're doing here. Don't worry. A lot of comedy is what we need.
Yeah.
But after that musical sequence, though, it was fun while it lasted because we come across a very terrifying looking scene.
So, remember Peggy Brandt? It's been a while
Yep.
since we've seen her, right?
Yes.
We actually see her briefly again during the Landfill Park scene where she's talking with her coworker.
Yeah, barely.
But this is like the third. So her saving Stanley from the cops is actually the third time we see her. But I decided to point that out. No, fourth time we see her. Her first appearance is when she's trying to interview Calloway while the Bert and Burv are being wheeled out. In pain, I'll just say.
Yep. But well, what did we get though? Throughout the film, Peggy, however, reluctantly betrayed Stanley to Tyrell for a $50,000 bounty.
And
talk about a backstabber.
Yeah, and Stanley himself gets. This is when things get real dark. They almost kill him.
Literally killed him.
Like they hold him over the newspaper machine.
And what's worse is that Tyrell decided to put on the mask. But instead of the comedian type of the mask, we get a sinister and horrifying look of him.
Yeah.
And for those who may be wondering, what happened to Peggy off screen? Either you do or don't want to know.
We don't. Okay, so in the actual film, it might seem like she it might seem like that. Oh, she probably just ran away in guilt. Nope. A deleted scene reveals exactly what happened.
And followed by the original work print. But that had to be cut off for the sake of this film. Because even if it is PG-13, it wouldn't make sense to add a very fatal death scene in there.
Right. The same...
Also known as Peggy literally got crushed in a newspaper crusher.
Yeah, the same machine they were threatening to throw Stanley in. I should point out this is like, remember him screaming in pain earlier when he puts the mask on?
Yes.
He screams again here, but this time it's in full-blown terror.
Again, PG-13 comedy, but
Which,
of course you have to add some eerie moments in there.
which you can't blame because he's literally being held upside down over this machine that's gonna freaking crush him if they drop him in it.
Why does that torture scene look like something that you would see from Saw New Line Cinema? Oh, wait. Wrong studio and wrong movie franchise. Whoops.
It literally cuts to a POV shot.
Oh, God. Oh, God. After that, Tyrell had his henchmen force Stanley to reveal the location of the stolen money before they turned him into the police along with a green rubber mask.
And by the way, the other scenes in Stanley's apartment are comedic, right?
Yep.
This is an exception. He's tied up in Sweet Eddie's car right outside. And Milo, by the way, he is there. He's like Milo there. Like you can tell how terrified he is. He sees these like two men he doesn't know breaking into his owner's apartment, stealing all the money inside the closet. He looks out the window and he sees Stanley tied up in the car. Imagine what's going through Milo's head there. What would he be thinking? What would Milo be saying inside of his head?
He's probably like, oh no. Maybe Milo's like, oh no, intruder.
And combined with the fact that he sees his owner kidnapped.
Yeah, but it looks like, unfortunately, Milo is like literally too scared to fight back, unlike most dogs that we know in most of the media.
Well, he does chase after the car.
Yep. But what? And where did Stanley end up? Behind bars.
Yeah. Okay, Calloway is stupid here. He literally saw Stanley bound and gagged, being thrown out of a car by what is clearly one of Dorian's henchmen, Orlando to be exact.
Yet he's still looking for the mask.
And yet all he does is violently rip the tape off of Stanley's mouth and yell at him.
Oh, brother. Worst detective ever.
And
Talk about the worst detective ever.
And by violently rip the tape off, I mean he does it violently. Stanley screams in pain once again.
Ouch. I think we all felt that.
And then once he gets put behind bars, we get what's gonna be quite possibly the most sad. Aside from so we all know how sad Frieza's. I know he's a villain, but we all know how sad Frieza's death was, right?
Yes.
Here we get what's gonna be quite possibly the most saddest scene in the whole film.
And that is, for most people who may be wondering,
Stanley telling Milo to find a new home.
New Line, don't do this to us, please.
And
New Line better not do this, please.
And Milo's whimpering is heart-wrenching, you know.
Oh, brother.
He doesn't even leave. He stays there. He stays there in that back alley behind Stanley's, cell.
Yep. When Tina visited Stanley at the station, he just urges her to leave the city. but not before Tina thanked him for showing her kindness and telling him that the mask was unnecessary. But after that, she attempted to flee. But who did she run up to? Tyrell.
And Sweet Eddie and Orlando, because there was two main, enforcers.
So the men kidnapped Tina and prepared her for the charity ball at the Coco Bongo, hosted by Nico and attended by the city's elite, including the mayor. But at arrival, however, Tyro just instantly straight up murdered his own boss and prepared to destroy Coco Bongo with a time bomb.
And how does he kill Nico exactly?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Like, he lets him shoot him,
Only to have become a bullet mouth.
Yeah.
Terrifying version of the mask right here.
People are saying that Nico deserved it, but let's be honest. In his defense, Dorian was literally making, like, the reason why he tortured Dorian with the golf simulation game was understandable. Dorian was literally doing criminal acts in that club.
Yeah, literally. I'd say that him and Freeze didn't deserve the worst of it.
Right.
Back at the station, Milo helped Stanley escape from his cell by retrieving the keys from a sleeping guard. How did Milo actually manage to do that?
Smart dog.
I mean, that's the smartest dog after all.
And then Stanley literally gets away scot-free with assaulting a police officer.
Ouch. I mean, I don't even care. He is in a hurry, so I can't blame him for that.
Like, he gets away with it. He takes Kellaway hostage.
Oh no.
And yet, in the end, he gets away scot-free because he's the main protagonist.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So after locking Kellaway in his car, Stanley enters Coco Bongo with the help of, enlisting Charlie's help. However, he was discovered and captured immediately.
Discovered by who, to be exact? Of course, Orlando.
I knew this was going to happen.
Because even though Sweet Eddie is supposed to be, Dorian's second command at this point since Freeze died, Orlando seems to get more screen time.
Yep. But during the climax, during the final climax, Tina literally tricked Tyro into removing the mask, which was actually recovered and donned by Milo. And when Milo puts on the mask, it is at this moment that Sweet Eddie knew he is effed up big time. And when you see that look on Milo's face, you might as well be dead meat by now. He literally said, "Good doggy." Really? But when you when you literally grab a rifle, no. You can't say that. After Milo scared him off, It weeds with a funny looking face.
Yeah.
After retrieving the mask back from Milo, guess who decided to put the mask back on? Stanley himself.
After beating the crap out of Dorian,
Yep.
he literally almost pokes his eye out. And
Ouch.
it is satisfying to watch.
Literally.
After all the crap Dorian did to him, yeah.
He just gets a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah.
Wyo Orlando, Sweet Eddie, and
The other henchmen don't have names.
yeah, the other henchman was reloading their rifles. The Mask came up with some very interesting reference before holding the henchmen at gunpoint with hundreds of gun or firepower, causing the henchmen to flee. And of course, it just gave us a little bit of a Joker kind of feel, as the weapons actually just shoots out flags that says bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Very clever, Mask. Very clever. The time bomb only had 10 seconds. But how can you detonate it though? Eating it whole? I don't think so. But for the Mask, he is a cartoon kind of character after all.
By the way, I should point out, people are probably wondering, why isn't Tina trying to escape? She's taped to a tree.
Yep.
Next to the bomb.
If the Mask wasn't here, Tina would just instantly be blown up by at the moment. But thanks to the Mask, not only that he swallowed it whole, the bomb literally went off. And his belly went poof.
Yeah. And then he burped out fire.
And just claimed that it was a spicy meatball.
Yeah. Guys, spoiler alert. No, Tina's not gagged. Just because I said she was taped to a tree duct taped to a tree does not include a gag.
Unlike Stanley, that was.
Yeah,
but Dorian wasn't done yet.
Much earlier. Yeah.
Dorian wasn't done yet. He quickly grabbed out a knife. And how to finish him off? The Mask says that he's very, well, incorrigible. The Mask quickly grabbed some kind of paint and Larry made a magic lever. Flushing him? Is this the Mask or flushed away? You were good, kid. Real good. But as long as I'm around... well, as long as I'm around... you'll always be second best. So the Mask has actually saved the day.
He frees Tina from that tree,
and taking off the mask, just being Stanley himself. But what happened to the henchmen exactly? The police actually arrived, arresting them.
And before we go too far, like we should mention Doyle comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
Like he doesn't even appear until the Coco Bongo scene, where
Yeah.
Dorian gets arrested. That's it.
Yep.
Then after that point, he just becomes like Calloway's comedic dumb sidekick.
Well,
You
at
ready?
the end of the movie,
And the mayor, he lets okay. The mayor is what is lets Stanley get away scot free.
yep, because Calloway tried to arrest Stanley again. While the mayor literally intervened, implicating that Tyrell was the mask the entire time, and praised Stanley as a hero. Whatever happened to Calloway off screen, though? I don't know. Maybe he must have lost his job after that.
Well, yeah. The mayor literally told him he would like to see him in his office the next morning. And before it comes to the final scene, we get one last comedic banter between Doyle and Calloway.
Oh boy.
What sounds good to you? Brooks, shut up.
In the following day, Stanley is falsely exonerated and more secure. Returned to the harbor bridge with Tina, Charlie, and Milo. Whatever happened to the mask? Tina decided to discard it before she and Stanley kissed. However, Charlie had other ideas. Jumping off a harbor bridge to retrieve it back. Only that Milo got it. And the last thing that Stanley says is smoking.
Yeah. Roll credits. I almost said roll Johnny's. Roll credits. There you go again with a Seth Rogen laugh.
I don't think I ever seen a movie that never failed to make me laugh. Probably since forever.
And then the credits roll. But that's not okay. It's the end of the movie, yes, but that's not the end of the VHS tape. We had a little something after the credits.
Something that we kind of gotten before the feature. Space Ghost interviewed with the star of The Mask, Jim Carrey, and the film's director, Chuck Russell. Never really heard of Space Ghost, but okay. And
go on.
Jim Carrey is kind of funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's funny.
Literally.
We were given exactly what we were promised. An interview with Jim Carrey with that cartoon character.
Yeah.
And I guess this Batman looking guy has a praying mantis sidekick.
Not to mention the Stanley decided to do kind of an impression of the Mantis, but not the Mantis you were thinking of.
Oh boy. By the way, when it was Chuck Russell's turn for the interview, we see what looks like some sort of hazmat guy.
Oh boy.
Like this cartoon hazmat guy brings Chuck Russell the screen that Chuck Russell is displayed on to the Batman looking guy.
Oh boy.
And you know what? Why not look up the closing for? Wait, maybe I should send it. Yeah. Mask VHS closing. 1995, 1999, 1991! Exclamation point. Okay. I must warn you, dude, that the actual interview in this video anyway is sped up to avoid copyright.
Which makes sense.
In the actual VHS, it's not sped up. It's just in the. It's since this is on YouTube, you know. But I think I sent it to Duke, right? Yeah,
yep. You have.
So after it's done speeding up, when you can start talking once it gets to the end credits, you know, because it stops speeding up once it gets to the end credits of the interview. Space Ghost.
Yep. So, for those who are curious, even though Space Ghost is interviewing Jim Carrey. The total minute length of the interview that isn't sped up that Jack had sent to me is actually 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And while Space Ghost says something about his show, we get a little flashing disclaimer that says shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, it's true.
His mask is better than yours. Oh, really?
Wait, are you actually watching it?
Yeah, I am.
Well, I don't want this to go into 2 hours. Oh gosh.
Jim Carrey's Mantis impression. Oh my goodness.
I'm freaking having a laugh attack. Oh gosh.
Jim Carrey's sarcastic answer is just a typical cool. All right. Okay then.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
What a sarcastic answer from Jim Carrey. And there's the hazmat suit you're talking about. Oh, it's Charles Russell. Okay, I thought it was Chuck Russell. But okay. Hyperspace goes to break out. Okay then, Charles. I was expecting an interview on how the movie was made, but this is like a comedy type of interview instead.
Oh my god.
And at the end, it still says shameless self-promotion.
Roll credits. By the way, we have a narrator talking over the end credits of this Space Coast episode.
And at the end, we get a Cartoon Network logo, the classic 90s one, before we get a switch to like 2007 or 2004, whatever that was. Are we on and Guam? Nope, I got nothing. And like most VHS tapes, there's nothing else. Just the black screen / or blue screen of death.
Well, the blue screen is when it's over. The black screen is just the rest of it. Like the rest of the recording. It still doesn't make it any less eerie, though.
True.
Well, guys, that was The Mask. It was long, I know, but it was fun. But I'm getting this off here, guys. Tomorrow I'll decide what podcast we can do next time. So we'll see you all next time, guys.
Yep, we'll have to see you then.